Okay, so we are now on the section about rewriting the record. So this is sort of when it's all gonna make sense and all come together. So just to recap, we did some awareness of the kind of things that we were saying to ourselves. We created our playlist of all the things that we say to ourselves. Then we've looked at the tools that can help us to have a more present, a more aware way of being, so we're not led by these inner critic and we don't believe the inner critic as well. So this section is about you taking that learning and rewriting a new playlist, because your cheerleader needs something to dance to. Your cheerleader needs a bit of a script. And that's what this is about. This is about giving your cheerleader the new ways of self-talk that you are prepared to give to yourself. And this is something that sounds quite easy, but sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. Because what we tend to do, we go, right, I'm going to make sure that I say all these amazingly powerful, wonderful things to ourselves. But then what happens is that we don't believe it, and we go and it just doesn't sit right with us, and then we go back to the old record, if I'm completely honest. So this needs to be a balance of it being believable to you. You have to feel it really and think, yeah, I get that. So I'm just going to give you an example. There's an example on the content of this section that I talked about with my work with Cardiff University. That's really useful to read. But I'm just going to give you a personal story. So I'm dyslexic, and I found out I was dyslexic when I was 32 years old. Previous to this, I used to have a record that said this: I'm thick. So if I couldn't do something, I'd say I'm thick. If I didn't understand something, I'd say, sorry for being thick. And this was my record, because I had lots of evidence to tell me that in my head that I was thick, because I couldn't spell. I'm not very good at spelling, my reading and my numbers, and yeah, they're all jumbled up and they're a bit of a mishmash really. Then I found out I was dyslexic. Then, lo and behold, I got a gift, because I start reading about dyslexia. I find out that most entrepreneurs, self-made millionaires, are dyslexic. I'm in the company of Richard Branson and Einstein and Edison and all these amazing people that have shaped history because we think differently. So my I'm thick turned to I have a gift. I didn't say I am the most cleverest person in the world, because that wouldn't have felt right, because it wasn't true. But I knew that I had a gift. I knew that I thought differently to other people. I knew that that was an advantage. Sometimes it is disadvantage as well, but I knew it was an advantage. So I started changing that conversation. Then what happens? Well, I become braver in my decisions. I put my hand up when I didn't put my hand up before, because I thought I was thick. I will challenge myself. I'll do things that will be a bit scary. I'll learn complex things and find them quite easy. I never would have done that with the record in my current playlist of I am thick. Okay? So we're gonna have a little look. So I want you to get that list again. Go and get the list. Pause me. Get the list. Hope you have the list. Right, got the list? Good. So I want you to go through the playlist. I want you to pick one out. Okay, so we're gonna do this one at a time. But I want you to pick one out. I want you to pick one out, and I want you to rewrite it from a place of empowerment, from a place of it feeling right, from a positive place. I don't know what you've put on your list, okay? So I'm just giving you ideas and tools. You can talk to me as well if you want to send me a message on the link on the Lighthouse So, but I want you to think about, this is the one that you say this is like, you know what this one is. This is the one that you say to yourself all the time. I'm, something is wrong with me. There's something, this is your monkey. This is the thing that you say to yourself all the time. And I want you to reframe it so it's more positive, and it's something that your cheerleader would say, not your inner critic, not your inner bitch. I want your cheerleader to think, right, yes, I can say this to her. It's believable, and it makes sense to you, and you can start practicing it. So it needs to be believable, it needs to be empowering, and it needs to be something that your cheerleader can practice saying. That's it. Then, throughout your life, I want you to work through that playlist. And this is something that we can't do now together. I think I'm probably going to do a webinar on it. But even when I run this session in face-to-face, I rarely go into the detail of this with people because it's really personal. And if I say to you, oh, why don't you change it to A, B, and C? It's not, it's my words. They have to be your words. So change it to something that's believable and empowering. And then your cheerleader will do the rest. Thank you very much.